everybody, how are you? We are reading the Rhino in Right Field. We are on chapter 7. Here we go. Chapter 7. Ace caught up with me and we walked 6 blocks without saying a word. Well, I didn't say a word. Did you see the look on that kid's face? Said Ace. You really shut him up. Can you believe the arm on that girl? Where'd she learn to throw like that? Did you see how I caught the ball? Just like Joltin' Joe. Do you think I look like Joltin' Joe? For 6 blocks. We got to 47th Street. I tugged his elbow. Let's go the long way. I need to blow off some steam. So instead of cutting through the park towards the scramble field as usual, we turned to walk down 47th Street and around the edge of the park. To be honest, I liked going the long way. You learn in school that the earth is divided in half at the equator, but if you ask me, that's wrong. The earth is divided in half right where I was standing, and here's why. On one side of the street, there's the typical busy, noisy streets. Houses, schools, factories, churches, butcher shops, barber shops, the brewery, cars honking, buses belching, and streetcars squealing. But on the other side of 47th Street, everything changes. For one thing, there's a big, peaceful park. Acres and acres of grass and trees, walking paths, tennis courts, a pond and a boathouse, a bandshell with a dance pavilion, a sledding hill, and as I've already mentioned, a zoo. Tigers and lions, giraffes and buffaloes, hippos, polar bears, brown bears, grizzly bears, one lonesome elephant, a stumpy-legged rhinoceros patrolling the right field fence, a gazillion monkeys. How did all those animals end up here anyways? I can just imagine the zoo hunter. Excuse me, Mr. Giraffe, for example. How did you like to leave this nice, warm African grassland and come to a city in the upper Midwest of the United States and spend the rest of your life in a pen the size of my living room? You'll have a nifty view of the number 37 streetcar line, and in the winter you can play in the snow. What snow, you ask? Come on into this nice cozy crate here and I'll show you. That's probably not what actually happened, but if Mr. Giraffe could talk, I'd bet that's pretty much how he'd tell it. Anyhow, I'm grateful because sure as shootin', I'll never make it to Africa or anything like that. So all those animals have done me a big favor because here I am with a regular Noah's Ark only 3 blocks from my house. Ace and I walked down 47th Street now, past the bear dens and the elephant yard. It was still off-season at the zoo, so most of the animals were hunkered down inside their winter quarters. But the polar bears were out, of course. And around the corner, along Frederick Street, the mountain goats were out too. And so was Tank. Behind Tank's yard, Monkey Island sat deserted and silent. The empty tire swing dangled from a branch of a huge dead tree. The water in the moat looked as smooth and black as slate. I can't wait till they let the monkeys out, said Ace. It's just like the last day of school. All those monkeys busting out into the open. They look so happy. Ace was right. The Monkey Island reopens the day the Monkey Island reopens is a big deal, and not just for the monkeys. Practically the whole city comes out to watch the zoo animals once they're officially allowed outside for the summer. There's a parade and a brass band and free ice cream. I never miss it, but I almost like the winter zoo better when we have the place and the animals pretty much to ourselves. As soon as we caught sight of the fellas at the ball field, they started hollering at us. Look at this, said Charlie, waving a newspaper. As we got closer, I saw the headline. New pups owner itching to shake things up. Excitement in store for the 1948 season. Somebody left this paper on the park bench, said Charlie, and I saw the headline. The Mupp Puppies are having a contest. Chapter 8. What kind of contest? Said Ace. It's a contest for kids, said Chuck. That's us. Good old Chuck, master of the obvious. Pete gave Charlie a shove. Go on, Professor, read the whole thing. Charlie pushed up his glasses and read an article out loud. Joseph P. Daggett, new president and general manager of our own Mud Puppies Baseball Club, has hit the ground running. Daggett announced exciting doings at the Old Orchard, including Ladies' Days, surprise giveaways, and a special contest just for kids, with a grand prize to be awarded during the upcoming homestand. I hope everybody comes out this season and has a swell time at the ballpark, said Daggett, who took the helm just last week. I want Orchard Field and our team to be something all fans can be proud of. Will our perennial cellar dwellers finally field a winning team? Our hopes are up. Good luck, President Daggett and the entire Mud Puppies organization. My pop was over at the ballpark yesterday, said Charlie. He told me there was a crew painting the whole place. Really spiffing it up, my old man said. Ace nudged me and said into my ear, remember how your pop told Joe Daggett that the orchard was falling apart? I nodded. And no place for a lady. He's using our ideas. Get to the good stuff already, Pete was telling Charlie. What's the special contest for kids? Keep reading. That's the whole article, said Charlie. But look at this. He flipped the page to show us a full-page ad. Boys, are you age 10 to 14? Do you love baseball? Now's your chance to be a Mud Puppy for a day. The Mud Puppies Baseball Club announces its first annual Mud Puppy for a Day Bat Boy contest. Wear the official team uniform on the field. Join the players in the dugout. Tar and rosin the bats of your hometown heroes. Fill those water jugs. Do you have what it takes? See terms and conditions. Below this was an entry form with blank spaces for name and address and stuff like that. Then there were a couple of paragraphs of really small printing. Charlie scanned the fine print with all the fellas gathered around. Here's the details. Let's see. Hurry up and read it already. Charlie cleared his throat. Boys age 10 to 14. The fellas voiced their engagement. Yeah, we know that. What else? Give me a chance here. All entrants must compete in 2 categories. Category 1, field skills. Now you're talking, said Chuck. I could whip any of you punks any day, said Pete. We'll see about that, said Ace. Category 2, read Charlie, stepping between Ace and Pete. A written essay of 100 words or fewer explaining why you should be a Mud Puppy for a day. If it's possible for time to stand still, that's what happened then. For 5 heartbeats or less, there was a complete silence. You could have heard a mouse burp. Then clock started ticking again, and Pete snatched the newspaper out of Charlie's hands. Let me see that. He glared at the paper like he was daring for blobs of ink to be arranged the way Charlie had read them. Then he smacked Charlie on the chest with the folded up paper. It's a stupid contest. What's the matter, Pete? Said Ace. You afraid of 100 words? Maybe you want to bow out now before you embarrass yourself? It's times like this when I wonder if Ace actually wanted to get punched. But Pete just said, you wish, you little toad, and he stalked off, taking the newspaper with him. Dollars to donuts, he was going home to fill out the contest entry form. How hard can it be to write 100 words, said Charlie. That's like writing a thank you letter to your grandma. Yeah, I said, but my voice was a little wobbly. Writing is not my best subject. Then again, it's not as bad as my fielding. Holy smokes, I was in trouble. Hey, we gotta practice, said Ace, already forgetting about Pete. What kind of skills do you suppose they'll want to see? Hitting, I guess, and fielding. He slapped me on the back. I'll help you work on that one, buddy. Gee, thanks. Did I mention I was in trouble? But what could I do? I couldn't not enter the contest. That would be admitting defeat, which is somehow even worse than public humiliation. Besides, who's to say I couldn't win this contest? None of the other fellas was any great shakes at writing either, except maybe Charlie, who seemed to think that delivering newspapers made him literally a genius. And sure, I was a lousy outfielder, but I could hold my own at the other stuff, hitting, base running. Okay, so I had a snowball's chance of winning the contest, but it was a chance, and that's all I needed, one chance. For some reason, nobody wanted to play ball anymore. Everybody wandered off, no doubt to find their own copies of the paper. Me and Ace looked at each other. I guess I'll go home then, I said. Me too, said Ace. Newspaper's probably already sitting on the front porch. Yup. And then he took off like a shot. I followed him. We raced the entire 2 blocks home. Sure enough, the newspaper had already been delivered. We each ran up our porch steps, scooped up our papers, and tossed aside all but the sports section. There it was, on the back page. The entry form was blank and clean, just waiting to be filled out. I scanned it quick, breathing hard from the race home. Sure enough, just like Charlie had read, fill out the entry form, name, age, address, parent signature, etc. Bring the form and your essay to Orchard Field on the day of the skills contest, Saturday, May 22nd. Wait a minute, I squeaked. Saturday! So, what do we think? How exciting, a batting contest or a contest to participate? That's good. What do we think's gonna happen? Do we think the girl's gonna show up? How do we think Ace is gonna do? I don't know. Tune in for the next one. See ya. There it was on the back page. The entry form was blank and clean, just waiting to be filled out. I scanned it quick, breathing hard from the race home. Sure enough, just like Charlie had read it, fill out the entry form, name, age, address, parent signature, etc. Bring your form and your essay to Orchard Field on the day of the skills contest, Saturday, May 22nd. Wait a minute, I squeaked. Saturday? How fun! What do we think? How do we think Nick is gonna do? Will the girl show up? Will he become the new bat boy for the Mud Puppies? Tune in next time to see.